Understand. I know. D1 exalted, D9 debilitated. D1 Mahapurush Yoga, D9 Hindustan. I know what you face. I do face it every day when I do consultations. There's something going on in the D1 and something totally different going on in the D9. Sometimes it is the same, which means it's good in both the places, or sometimes it's bad in both the places. But 70 to 80% of the times, it will always be, oh, it is well placed here, badly placed there. It could be either ways. It does not have to be always good in the D1 and bad in the D9. It can be either ways, good in the D9 and also bad in the D1. All right. So, therefore, today I will try my best to help you with resolving this confusion. Now, first of all, this is something you need to understand. This is not a confusion. This is not a fight. This is not a battle. If you take this as a battle means you try to cancel out one thing with the other. Then you will never reach a conclusion. Why? Because no planet will be perfectly placed somewhere. No planet will be perfectly, in the sense, no planet will always be exalted in this and that, on or no planet will be directly debilitated everywhere, like in D1 D9, any divisional chart. So you will not get extreme scenarios always. Okay, sometimes you may get, but most of the times it will be in a gray zone. Very rarely will you find a planet is exalted here and there or debilitated in both the places. Mostly it will be a planet is in enemy sign here or a planet is a friend sign there. So you will find gray scenarios. So that's what we'll try to do. So first, this is not a fight. Number two, if it's not a fight, what it is? Well, the D1 is the chart of your external world. The D9 is the chart of your internal world. What you do when nobody is watching you? What do you do when actually, except God, nobody is watching you? Because the Vedic scriptures say there are 12 sakshis, 12 witnesses who are always watching us. But when apart from them and you, nobody is watching, what do you do? That is the D9. Well, that is why they say D9 is the chart of marriage or spouse. Well, actually, it is neither the chart of your marriage nor it's the chart of your spouse. But in general, the spouse is the only person, your husband or wife is the only person who stays with you 24 hours and knows a lot about you. It's like almost as if you are alone. Nobody is there, but your spouse is there, right? So, therefore, the D9 is very important for married life because the D9 shows the nature of the person, and that contributes, that nature will be faced by your spouse. That is why it is important. Inherently, it is not the chart of marriage. Now, what does it mean if you have a planet well placed, if you have a good planet in the D1? So, suppose you take any example. Now, planet is well placed, which means well placed means it is either in Kendra or Trikon, or it is exalted. Yes. Or at least it could be also in own sign or Mool Trikon or friend sign. Then it is, you can say it is reasonably well placed. And of course, if it is in the Kendra and it is involved in a Mahapurush Yoga, then of course it is considered to be very good. So these are apparent quote unquote good things, okay, in the D1. Oh, what does this mean if a planet is well placed in the D1? Well, it simply means it will give you powerful opportunities. Yeah, that's what it means. Will you be able to use those opportunities? Will you be able to accept them in the way that it should be accepted? That the D9 will tell you. So, suppose a planet is very well placed. Let's take an example. Sun is in the 10th house. You are Cancer ascendant. Let's take a very ideal scenario. Okay. Sun is in Aries in the 10th house. It is in Digbal, it is in exaltation, phenomenal. Or say sun is in the 10th house in Leo, wherever sun is, okay? Or sun is in Leo anywhere in the chart, in the D1, not just 10th house. It could be anywhere. Then also it is very well placed. So suppose sun is very well placed. It's either exalted or in Leo, or it's in the 10th house in Digbal. Now, what does this mean? This means in Sun Mahadasha or Sun Antardasha, you will get good opportunities. You may get a promotion, you may get money, you may get a different designation, you may get more power within your same domain, you may get more respect. These are things which Sun Dasha will bestow upon you externally, which means there will be situations favorable for getting some aspect of the 10th house, which we know is post position power. And the Sun is the Karaka for government, so it can come through the government. But now, suppose that same Sun is very well placed in your D1, but is badly placed in your D9. What does it mean? It means that even though you get this opportunity externally, but you somehow cannot use this opportunity for your benefit. What does this mean? It's like, it's very bizarre. Like, what's the use of getting an opportunity if you can't use it, right? Well, it's not black and white, as I said. If sun is well placed in the D1, it will give you that opportunity fully, irrespective of how it's in the D9. But after getting the opportunity, are you able to use the opportunity? Are you happy inside? Do you know what to do? How are the people around? Is this clear, or is there ambiguity in this? So if your sun is well placed in the D1 but not well placed in the D9, then in Sun Dasha you get all these things, but you're still confused, you're unhappy because people are not good. So the Navamsha, in short, deals with the quality of the events and aspects of the planets in the D1. Now, if a planet is well placed in the D1, fine, everything works as per your desire. But if it is also well placed in the D9, then you not only get external things, you are also happy and you have clarity of thought. Now, why this happiness and clarity of thought comes? Because the D9 is indicating your pious credits and your sinful credits from your previous lifetimes to some extent, not everything, but to a large extent, especially your talents and the knowledge that you bring. So what happens when you have knowledge from your past lifetime? There's no confusion. Sometimes you see people are very confused. They earn a lot of money, but somehow they're very confused. Why? Because the knowledge is not there from the previous lifetimes. This is the first time they are doing something. And guess what happens? You don't know what to do, when to do, how to do, where to do. And because of that, what happens is you get something, but yeah, you're miserable. Okay. So now, which is better? To have a good planet in the good D1 or a good D9? Well, I would say, from my experience, there's no direct answer to this, but from my experience, I would say either of the extremes are very bad. So I would prefer, if I had the power to arrange somebody's chart, I would prefer some planets are well placed in the D1, and some planets are well placed also in the D9. Now, they may be there may be they may coincide, which means one planet may be well placed in both D1 and D9, or one planet may be badly placed in both D1 and D9. Now they may coincide or they may not, but if there is an extremity, which means certain planets, you're like D1 is extraordinary, all planets are good, D9 is very bad, all planets are badly placed, then this gives rise to a narcissist, the very high level of narcissism, externally very powerful, externally very attractive, handsome, sexually appealing, very smart, very convincing. What else? But internally hollow. Nothing is there, nothing exists. And if you take the other way around, a D1, the D1 is spoiled, D9 is exceptionally good, then it means the person is struggling whole life. The person is a very good person, but the person is struggling. So this could somehow mean the person is an empath. If the D9 is exceptionally good and the D1 is exceptionally bad, because then the person will feel, oh, I did not get, maybe somebody else should get, I don't deserve it, whatever, in a good way, in a humble way, not in terms of like inferiority complex. Oh, I am a loser, I deserve nothing, I'm piece of crap. No, not in that sense, but with humility. So therefore, if you are doing childbirth planning, then please understand, do not jump into conclusions very quickly. Or if you're doing marriage compatibility, don't just see, oh, the D1 is great, D9 is bad. Oh, D1 is very bad, the D9 is very good. Okay, so try to find a balance, because when you find balance, what happens? Some planets, so as I said, my preference would be some planets are good in D1, some are good in D9. The others may be bad in both. That's fine. Why? Why? Because the planets which are good in your D1 will end up giving you good opportunities in their Mahadasha, Antardasha. And planets which are good in the D9 will end up giving you the knowledge and the strength. So then, suppose in your D1, your Rahu is very well placed. And in your D9, suppose Jupiter is very well placed. So then what happens? Rahu Mahadasha will give you a lot of opportunities, and Jupiter Antardasha will give you a lot of knowledge and wisdom. So Jupiter Rahu will be fantastic. Fantastic may not be externally, but it will be a mixture of external achievements and inner realizations. And if you have this, you can learn a lot from life. You can give a lot to people rather than having just a great D1 or just a great D9. Makes no, yeah, it does no good to anybody. Okay. Now, suppose a planet is very badly placed in both D1 and D9, then what does it mean? Well, it's very simple. You neither will you get opportunities, neither will you know when you don't get opportunities what to do. Yeah, it's a very precarious situation. And if it is well placed in both, as I already said, you get opportunities and you are like, yes, this is what I want to do and this is what I should do. Okay. So therefore, you will never get black and white situations, as I've said. So be prepared to go through this roller coaster. It's one of the most difficult decisions to finalize. What if this planet is badly placed here, well placed in this divisional chart. Okay. So what will happen? And finally, don't forget, at the end, what happens in your life is not dependent on your D1 or D9. They are very important. But it also depends on other divisional charts, your Ashtakvarga, your nakshatras, nakshatra lords, the nature of the planets, and most importantly, dashas and transits. Mostly dashas. Okay. So therefore, just because you have a planet badly placed in either D1 or D9, don't just directly declare. Suppose you say, oh, Sun is badly placed in D1, well placed in D9. Don't directly declare, oh, I will never get opportunities. I will only feel good about it. No, don't declare like that. See it in context of the overall chart. That will tell you what is going on. All right. God is there with you all the time. Just look to Him and you'll find Him. And if you want clarity in your career or marriage or health or property assets, anything, you can go to my website down in the description section, exoticastrology.in. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe to Exotic Astrology. And if you made it this far, don't forget to click the thumbs up. Jai Siya Ram.